What is the 17th thing that I would do differently if I were going to college today? I would tell on every single person affiliated with Alabama State University circa fall semester 1994. I would also study the financial aid process, but I would still tell. Pull up a chair because this is going to be a long story. Hi, I'm Passion Darby, and over the next month, I am going to be bringing to you 31 things that I would do differently if I were going to college today. 31 years ago, almost to date, I was an 18-year-old young woman, and I decided that I was going to go to college that fall no matter what. And I did go to college that fall. It was fall 1993. And now here I am, 31 years later, and I have amassed a wealth of information, knowledge, and wisdom that I am going to be sharing with you through this channel. But today, I will be discussing the 17th thing that I would do differently. And this is a story that I have probably should have gotten off my heart years ago. I really believe I've only told this story to one person, and I actually met that person at Alabama State University. But I'm not going to put that person in this because it's already enough people for me to tell on. So I have with me 4 pages of notes because I want to make sure I tell on every single person that conspired with me in fall 1994. Here's what happened. So I let me take a step back to be completely honest with you, and let me just try to be serious for a minute. Thing number 17 is that I would study the financial aid process, but I'm telling on the people who were affiliated with Alabama State in fall 1994 because they are the reason I ended up being a student of the financial aid process. So let me tell you all what happened. So first of all, I told you all that I transferred into Alabama State University in fall 1994. Prior to going to Alabama State University, I attended Philander Smith College, now Philander Smith University in Little Rock, Arkansas. There, for whatever reason, I did not have any problems with my financial aid package. I believe that our financial aid lady, her name was Mrs. Proctor, I believe that she was a magician. I'm just going to tell it. I believe she was a magician because I don't remember any of us complaining about the financial aid process. I don't remember any of us students not having our financial aid package together. I just remember floating through Philander Smith College like an angel, no worries, no cares. And the only time that I had to go see Miss Proctor was to get my transcripts. And I remember when she saw my transcripts and she saw that I had straight A's for the semester, and I just remember her giving me a high five and saying, "You go, girl." I'll never forget that. That made me feel really good. But in terms of the financial aid packages, she was like a financial aid genie. She just made no mistakes, and I didn't have any problems. I never even thought about financial aid while I was enrolled at Philander Smith College. When I transferred to Alabama State University, I had a very different experience. So I, where do I begin with this? I remember it this way. My parents might remember it differently. And like I said, pull up a chair because this is going to be a long story because I need to tell on every single person. Okay. So I remember completing my financial aid papers over the summer because they were papers at the time, young people. I know today you all can complete the financial aid application online. There was no online when I was in college, so we had to mail in papers. And I remember giving those papers to my mother, who is an Alabama State University affiliate. I'm getting there, I'm getting there. And I don't know if she ever mailed off my papers. Now, The truth is, I probably didn't get those papers to my mother. Now, now that I'm thinking back on it and who I was during summertime shy, I grew up in Chicago. Summertime shy is a holiday. So whoever I was during that time, more than likely, no, I did not give my papers to my mother. I just blamed her for it. Okay, but that's another story. But I feel like I would have given them to my mother because who else had a car in the house but her to take them to the post office? I think that was her. But whatever happened, when I went back to school that fall, back to college, when I went to and I transferred to Alabama State University, I don't know what happened. My financial aid papers did not come through. My financial aid application was not submitted. So I remember going to so this is the first culprit, okay? Her name was Dean Freeman. I love her. She used to teach at Alabama State University, but she was the dean at the time when I transferred in. And I just love her so much. But I remember we were in orientation and we were all in the auditorium, all of the incoming freshmen and transfer students. And Dean Freeman told us in a warning voice, she said, look to the left of you and look to the right of you. One of you all will not be here next semester. And I looked around because I said, she's not talking to me. Of course I'm going to be here next semester. What? Who's she talking to? Why was she talking to me? Okay, so I'm going to move on from that because that's going to upset me. Then I went to discuss my financial aid package because I just wanted to make sure everything was okay. And that's when I learned from the financial aid advisor at Alabama State University that my financial aid package was not successfully processed. So she told me that I needed to pay $1,000 to the school as a deposit for my tuition. This is what I understood, and that she would help me process my financial aid paper so that they would come in, the application would come in, I guess, and I could get the funding that I needed for my education. So I remember contacting my parents and they I don't think they had $1,000 to help me. Now, this is why I think that we all need to learn financial literacy, not only for us, but for our children. And for whatever reason, they did not have that money to help me. And this is not where the co-parenting comes in, though. So, because I know for sure that if my parents could have helped me, they would have. But what upset me is that, first of all, I was wearing $1,000. Shout out to my mother who used to keep me dressed to the gods. Okay. My nickname at Alabama State University was Whitley Gilbert. And if you do not know who Whitley Gilbert is, Google her. She is a legend in these TV streets. But my parents did not have that money to just give to me. So even though I was wearing, thanks to my mother, I was wearing probably more than $1,000, and between my coat, between my gym shoes, or between my hair used to be like $100 to get done, between my brand name clothes, my mother used to keep me dressed. So I was agitated by that. And that's, one of the times in my life that I remember thinking to myself, I really need to learn money. But um, I could not come up with the money and I had to go home. And when I went home, when I realized I had to go home, and the financial aid advisor finally told me, that I could not stay that semester. I went to my room in the then Bibb Graves Hall, which is the first hall built at Alabama State University. And I fell against my bunk bed and I cried so deeply. Let me pull myself together because I really loved school. Not only did I love school, I just loved college, period. And I really was grateful to be there. I was already going to class and making a name for myself academically. I also talked to you all about being a college queen, and I was about to start my campaign for Miss Bibb Graves Hall. And my mother lived in Bibb Graves Hall when she was a student at Alabama State University. So I really wanted to represent that residence hall for her, or, in honor of her. So, and I knew I was going to win because I was very popular on campus and it was just a good time. So, and I had made good friends. And so I was very devastated that I would have to go home. I felt defeated. I was heartbroken. I cried. I was so grateful that my roommate was away with her father in Birmingham, Alabama for the weekend, because I did not want her to see me crying like that, especially when she saw me move in with all 11 boxes of my clothes. And so I didn't, I was really embarrassed and I was very, very deeply hurt. So um, I stayed there for as long as I could. The dorm lady was very nice. She did not force me to leave. My father actually forced me to leave. He said, "You need to come on home." So I did. I did not. I packed a few things because in my mind I told myself I was going to come back. So let me pull in the next culprit, the janitor. Shout out to the janitor in Bill Graves Hall, because he took my things that was in my residence hall room and he stored them for me. Praise the Lord. He stored them for me in a closet and locked that closet up. And he said, "You're coming back." Yes, he did. Yes, he did. He, I don't want to cry when I tell this story because I really want to hold everybody accountable for the debacle that was Passion Derby circa fall semester 1994. But he stored my things for me, all my comforters, because my mother had decorated my room down. So I had a whole bunch of beautiful things in my room, and to keep me from having to take all of my things home, he stored those things for me and kept them for me. And so I did go home finally, heartbroken. And my mother bought me a ticket on the Greyhound, and then she picked me up from the Greyhound station once I arrived from Chicago. I cried the whole way home. I was so depressed coming from Montgomery, Alabama to Chicago, Illinois. This is why I feel that Black children need both parents in their lives, because it's so hilarious how my parents and my grandmother handled this situation so differently, and I needed both. Trust me. When my mother picked me up from the bus station, she took me shopping. Come on, mama. Culprit number three. So she took me shopping because at that time, I loved to shop. Now I do not. But she took me shopping. And a part of me was thinking, Mama, you could have sent this money down to help me stay in school. But I said, I'm going to let this go because I just don't think my mother had it, because I feel like if she had it, she would have sent it to me. But she did take me to get some clothes, and that did put a smile on my face for a minute. But I was still deeply depressed and missing my friends tremendously, missing the campus tremendously. And then I went home. I was staying with my father during this break. And so my father, when I got home that day, I told my father, I was like, "Daddy, I'm so depressed. I want to go back to school. I'm sad." I said, "My mom took me shopping and I just, I really could have used this money. Why y'all just didn't send me the money?" And that's when I started to realize, even though I grew up never feeling poor, I started to realize that I really was poor, because my parents, I know they would have sent it to me. They wouldn't have let that happen to me. So I realized that they just simply didn't have it. But what I liked about the way my father handled this situation is he said, "Passion, what you gonna do about it?" I can laugh today, but I was not laughing then. He said, "What you gonna do about it? You're gonna sit here and sulk for the next semester or the next year? You're gonna give up, or what you gonna do about it?" And honestly, I did need my father to be a little more compassionate at that time. I still do sometimes, but I'm grateful for that talk, because that's why you need both parents. You need your mother to take you shopping, and you need your daddy to say, "Okay, you got some shopping out of your system. Get it together, pull it together, go get back in school." So when my father left that afternoon after telling me that, I sat on his couch and I really thought about what he said. And I was like, yeah, I'm not about to let my college career go down the drain. I want to go back to school. I haven't come this far not to graduate. I'm going to graduate. Okay. I apologize. It's making me emotional thinking about this because I've never shared this story before other than with one person. So I said, I'm going to do something about it. He's right. Let me figure out what I can do. And so, what I chose to do, I felt like the financial aid thing was my issue. And I um, decided to focus my energy in on that because I said, if the financial aid is what went wrong, then I'm going to make it right. And I'm going to make sure that this never happens to me again. So, I would name my father culprit number three. Yes, he's culprit number three because he put the fire up under my butt that has made me obsessed with all things college and financial aid today. I don't even pay tuition anymore. Shout out to my father. Okay. Then my grandmother, she handled it like grandmother should handle it. So I'm gonna call her corporate number. Culprit number, what number am I on? I think she's culprit number 5. My grandmother transferred because she transferred my mail to finish that thought. She transferred my mail to her home so that I could always get my mail because my mother had moved while I was away at college. And so that could have been the reason why I did not get my financial aid correspondences in the mail. I don't know. And so my grandmother had a home on the south side of Chicago, and she was pretty stable. So she rerouted my mail to her house so that I could not miss any of my financial aid correspondences. So collectively, my grandmother, my mother, and my father really helped to get me on this trajectory that I am on now, where I can help other students with financial aid processes. So, what was the one of the changes that happened? I or that makes me feel like my mother was one of the culprits as well. So one day I was this is like while I was away, I was still at home trying to figure out the financial aid process, reading everything I could about financial aid. My father even had taken me over to the man who helped me to apply for college, and his name was Mr. Parnell. And my father helped that man and sat with me and my father and explained to me the financial aid process. So I was getting ready. I was like, no, I'm going back to school. I'm going back to school in spring semester 1995. I refused to not go back to school. But one day I was on the bus. I was taking the bus to my mother's shop. She had an auto shop on the west side of Chicago. And I was so sick just from hating being in Chicago. Now, I love me some Chicago, but I didn't want to be there at the time. I really wanted to be away at school, and I was just so depressed and so sad having to have come home, and I was aching for my college friends and my college life. And one day, I was riding on the bus, and en route to my mother's shop, I saw some young men beating up a homeless person. And when I see violence, I become nauseated. And because I'm very sensitive, as I shared in the earlier videos, and I vomited all over myself on the bus. That's how depressed I was. And I just was so angry because I was thinking, this, what I'm looking at right now, these young men beating up this homeless person, I wouldn't see this if I were on campus. I wouldn't have to deal with this Chicago stuff. I was so angry, and I was just like, I want to get out of here. I can't stand it here. I really want to go away to school. I want to go back to school. So when I arrived at my mom's shop, she saw all the vomit on me, and I don't know what clicked in her. I'm so glad I can laugh about this today. But she looked at me and she said, I'm going to send you down to see your friends this weekend. I'm sorry. I'm getting emotional at culprit number 6. I think she's culprit number 6, or maybe she was culprit number 2. I don't remember. I've lost count. But she told she bought me a Greyhound ticket to go and see my friends because I believe my mother saw how sad I was. I was so sad. So she brought me a ticket, and And I went down to visit my friends, and that just made me miss school even more because I was so happy to see my friends and they were so happy to see me. And I spent 4 days in Alabama on campus. But let me tell you where I spent most of my time, in the financial aid office, because I told my financial aid advisor that day, over that weekend, I said, I'm coming back in January. And she said, I believe you. Let me help you. Let me see what's going on. Let me tell me what you've done so far. So I told her I filled out the application, that my dad had taken me to, talk to an advisor about it to make sure I did it right. I just called her up and she said, okay, I think you're on the right path. So I look forward to seeing you in the spring. And I said, I'm coming back. I'm coming back. And I told all my friends I'm coming back. So also, also, here's culprit number 7. My dorm lady was so beautiful. Okay, why did she let me stay in the dormitory while I visited my friends, which was illegal? And she welcomed me with open arms. And not only did she allow me to stay in the residence hall in Bibb Graves Hall, but she allowed me to stay in my old college room. So I was able to stay in my old room during that 4-day weekend. She did not, my bed was untouched. My things were still in the storage unit. And she just treated me like I had never left. It was just the most wonderful thing. So during that 4-day weekend, I just gained more momentum, more internal momentum to go back to school because of the way I was welcomed at Alabama State, and the way that the dorm lady welcomed me and treated me and let me stay in my own room while I hung out with my friends that weekend, and the way that the janitor was keeping my things, and the way that the financial aid lady believed in me and helped me and was really proud to see me trying to come back to school. So when I came back home from that weekend, I packed. I think I had read a, a a Bible verse that said something like "act as if." So I just packed because I was acting as if I was going back. And guess what, you all? I went back to college. I went back to Alabama State University in spring 1995. I did not miss a beat. Shout out to my dad again, because when I went to Philander Smith College, my father gave me some advice that really helped me. He said, do not take any fluff courses while you are here. Take serious courses so that all of your credits can transfer. So because my dad gave me that advice, I still graduated on time. I still graduated on time, even though I missed a whole semester of school that fall semester at Alabama State University in 1994. I still did not miss any beat, and I was able to come back and just act like it was like I was never gone. So I arrived back to Alabama State University, January 1995. I was so grateful, so excited. And my financial aid advisor was so excited to see me. She was so happy for me. And she was telling me, I got all of your paperwork in. You are set. I'm so proud of you for sticking to it. And let me tell you how early I went to her office, because I was not playing. I was never going to let that happen to me again. And so um, it was my birthday, and my birthday is January the 13th, as you all might know if you watched that video. And the school, what classes weren't started until after Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday, so that was after the 17th of January. But I was in her office on my birthday. And how do I know? Because I told the story in an earlier video of how the administrators used to pin money on me. The administrators at Alabama State University would pin money on my shirt on my birthdays. She was the person who started that tradition for me. So on my birthday, that day when I came back and I said, I made it back, and where's my financial aid package? And she was so excited for me. She was the first person. She put a $10 bill on my shirt and pinned it on my shirt, because she said, I'm so proud of you for sticking to this, and happy birthday, and you're good. We got everything together. Go enjoy yourself, and don't let this happen again. And I said, ma'am, I will not. So I think I covered all of that story, but that is that's what happened. I went on to graduate. Well, actually, of course, I went on to transfer later on, a year and a half later. And then I graduated from the Clark-Atlanta University. But I would not have been able to graduate from any place if it weren't for all of those people who conspired to help me at Alabama State University and their affiliates, because my mother and my father did meet at Alabama State University. So they are conspirators as well. And my grandmother, while she was not affiliated with Alabama State University, she bought me the refrigerator for my dorm room at Bibb Graves. So she's in it too. No, I'm just joking. But everyone who helped me during that horrible time in my life, which has actually turned out to be a blessing because I'm able to help students now, I really commend them for helping me and being so supportive of me at that time. And now I'm able to tell, how grateful I am to them. So let me pull out my notes so I can tell you how not to have to go through such a hurtful situation, because so many times I see students, college students, come to college, particularly college students who look like me, who do not know the financial aid process. And I don't want what happened to me to happen to you all. I was so devastated that I had to come home, and thankfully I was able to come back, but not everybody is so lucky. So I want to give you all, I think I have 12 tips on how you can avoid this happening to you. Please listen up and take notes. First thing, during your freshman year of high school, or sophomore or junior year of high school, whatever stage you are in, begin having monthly conversations with your high school counselor about the college admissions and financial aid process. The earlier you start, the better. Now, let me tell you this. I attended a college prep high school, but I graduated when I was 16 years old. So my mother did not allow me to leave for college until I was 18, okay? And therefore, that 2 year span made me feel uncomfortable going back to my high school, and asking them for help. But looking back, they would have helped me had I asked. I just didn't feel comfortable asking. So while you are in high school, please start having monthly conversations right now so that you can get a comprehensive understanding of the financial aid process. Number two, counselors are very busy. So if they tell you that the college prep services are only for seniors, high school seniors, ask them if you can please attend those services so that you can get a head start. Listen, a closed mouth does not get fed. Ask anyway, and use words like please and thank you. And you will, more than likely, they will not turn you down. They will be surprised at your proactiveness, and they will also be happy. Number three, if they do allow you to attend or participate in the senior college preparation activities, show your appreciation by saying thank you, or volunteering to help doing workshops. So if they are doing like financial aid workshops, college application workshops, and they allow you to attend as a non-senior, show gratitude in some way, shape, or form. Volunteer to help out, or to organize the seats, or sweep the floor, or whatever you can do to help out, because those services with today's busy college counselors, they don't have a lot of time to help non-seniors. So if they help you, show your gratitude. Let's see. Number four, go to the financial aid website, which is studentaid.com, studentaid.gov, and read the entire website. I do mean it when I say that. I'm not exaggerating. Please listen to me, and listen to me good. Read the entire website. Currently, there are 4 drop down menus on the website. So if I were a freshman in high school right now, I would read a drop down menu per year. So for my freshman year, I would start with the first drop down. For my second year, I would start with the second drop down, and on and on and on and on, until you have a comprehensive understanding of the drop down of financial aid. Number 5, read all the fine print. Now, sometimes there are some footnotes on the website that people overlook, and that's the fine print. That's what you really need to read, because those are where some of the loopholes can be, or the exceptions can be written, and if you don't read those, you'll miss out on those. Number 6, I think I'm on number 6. Watch YouTube videos on how to complete the FAFSA application. Now, one of the channels that I've come across is called College Planning Professionals, and she talks about the FAFSA often. So go to her channel and study the FAFSA process that way, because I know today digital natives are accustomed to learning via YouTube, which is just fine. Number 7, complete your financial aid application alongside your parents. This is something I should have done, so that you can understand what information is being inputted in the system. So, like I said, my father was there with me when I was completing my second financial aid application. But my mother is the person who I lived with primarily. And so I should have done my financial aid package in conjunction with her, and I failed to do that. Don't make that mistake. Sit down with your parents and fill out your financial aid application. Number 8, I think I am on number 8. Tell the truth on your financial aid application so that you can receive appropriate funding. You do not want to lie on your application. You want to be completely truthful so that your application can be assessed appropriately. And you may be thinking, well, what if they don't give me enough funding? Well, that is where your faith have to come in, honey. Okay. You have to believe that God will provide for you. And you can also go back to my earlier videos and you can go start your own business and pay your own tuition. Okay, going on to number 9. Follow up with your financial aid when you arrive to the college campus. So once you arrive and you feel like everything is gone okay, you still need to go see your advisor, because for you, your financial aid application is special to you because you are you. But a financial aid advisor, particularly at a larger school, they have thousands of students on their caseload. And so they cannot pay particular and special attention to your application alone. That's for you to do. So you need to go to the advisor and just make sure that they have your application on track and that everything is going to be okay for your years in college. Number 9, I think I'm on. Put your financial aid advisor on your best friends list and go to talk to them in person. People who love to email, go talk in person once a semester just to make sure your financial aid is still on track. So, to be honest with you, I don't think that the financial aid advisor at Alabama State University would have been helpful to me had I not gone and made her my best friend. And I really did. I was very polite. I was very friendly, because that is really how my mother raised me to be. So that's my natural personality. But I was super nice to that lady, and I was super friendly and super transparent. I told her how much leaving school hurt me. And um, if the financial aid office was not very far from my residence hall, as it was at the time, I probably would have started crying in her office, but I didn't want my friends to see me cry walking from the dorm. So that's a whole nother story. But I was really sad, and I know she could tell that I was sad, and that I believe that's why she helped me. So be transparent with your financial aid advisor and make that person your best friend. Go talk to them once a semester at least. Number 11, when you see them, if there are, yes, okay. I couldn't read my own handwriting. If when you see your financial aid advisor, ask them if there have been any changes with the financial aid process or with any financial aid policy, so that you can stay abreast of these things. So you have to keep in mind, our country is a little shaky right now, and policies are changing all the time when it comes to student loans and financial aid. And so you need to be abreast of those things. So always put that on your questions list when you go to see your advisor, your financial aid advisor. Ask the question, has anything changed? Are there any new policies that I need to be aware of? And then always end your conversation in this way: is there anything else you feel I need to know? Okay, there you go. And then I don't know what number I'm on. Let's see. I already said that. Right. Okay, I think that's all my tips. But I do not want what happened to me on a serious note. I'm I'm joking when I say that the people who conspired to help me at Alabama State University are culprits. They really were a village to me. They came together in different ways to help me to be successful and to go back to college. And I'm grateful for each and every one of them, even the dorm lady and the janitor, because when I did come back that January, I was able to move back into my same room. She kept my room for me. Yes, she did. And my belongings that were in for my room that my mother had bought me were still in that closet, and the janitor had kept those things for me. So everyone really helped me, and I was lucky. Not everybody will be that lucky, particularly today in today's time. So what I want you, college student, college goer, college bound student, to do is to make sure this doesn't happen to you. Follow the tips that I have outlined and take care of yourself. Study the financial aid process like you would study for an exam, because you need to know what is going on with your financial aid. And to all of the mothers and the fathers and the grandmothers and the resident hall administrators and the janitors who have ever helped a Black child go to or graduate from college, I salute you for being that child's village, just like Alabama State's and its affiliates, my mother and my father and my grandmother were for me in the fall of 1994. And to all of the college students who look like me and who may be experiencing deeply saddening setbacks as I did that fall, please do not give up. Please understand that a way will be made and you should not give up. Focus, study whatever your challenge is, and go forward. Everything will work out. Thank you so much for listening, and please go to college.